How are you doing, Adam?
Good yourself?
Good. Seen any deer yet?
No, I'm like an hour and a half from St. Louis right now.
Ah,
Oh
okay,
wow.
so
So I'll start hunting tomorrow.
urban territory, not really good for deer. So
Um,
you do the weather's been good all the way out, huh?
It's been great. I mean, this has been the easiest one of the easiest drives I've had. To be honest with you, I've had no weather.
You're lucky. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I
get
just
brisk.
talked to buddies. It's raining in Kansas City right now, but I'm gonna miss it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's coming here tomorrow. Supposedly we're supposed to get a pretty good soaking, which we need. So
yeah, I saw that when I was getting ready this morning. How bad it's supposed to be over there. That hurricane or storm's coming that way. It looks like from down south.
yeah.
all right, we're live.
All right. Good. Jim,
I'm
how are you
gonna.
doing, bud?
Hey, all good, all good. All
Good.
happy in a car. Just got done having dinner at that Quince Orchard Italian restaurant. I can't remember the name of it, but
Not
Oh,
not the one
Italian.
Cafe Roma.
yeah, Cafe Roma.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh man, so good. I could only eat half of it. I was stuffed.
The
But
guy, the owner lives in Poolsville, right?
Yeah, he does.
so
His name's
I've
Abraham.
heard.
Isn't that
Right. Yeah.
isn't that ironic? My name's Lincoln. His name's Abraham. So go figure.
That's okay. Like probably not the first time that's happened to you too, right?
No. I have quite a few Jewish friends, and a couple of them are named Abraham too. So
Right. Yeah. No, it was so good. Anyway, typical. And they took good care of us. I'm like, look, I got a 6:30 Zoom. We got to go.
yeah,
So they got us going. Anyway, very good. Good to see
good.
everybody.
So we got Adam on the. He can't be on the video because he's driving right now. We got you.
Hey,
We got
Adam.
me, and we've got Kevin.
Hey
So
Jim.
we got a quorum. So I think we can start. Uh, Ed sent me a text and said he was going to try to join. I think he's at some kind of a business meeting tonight, but he's going
He's
to
at
try to
the
pop out.
Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce meeting doing our networking.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So it's
So
good.
he can.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he'll join us after that.
Yeah.
So to get started, we have no minutes from the last meeting because, as you recall, we did not have a meeting in October, so we'd have nothing to adopt there. Looking at the agenda, I thought we'd start out with the update on the new gym, and Jim, you can chime in too. Back during the Poolsville Day breakfast, we, as you know, made a presentation about our key issues for free access, and one of the things we mentioned was the gym, and we talked to Manifa McKnight, the superintendent, about it. And she said, why don't you submit some proposed changes? Because we told her we were not quite satisfied with where the gym is at this point. It still isn't really on par with other gyms in the county. So we have submitted something. We worked with Gene on it, Jim and I did. And essentially, we had two proposals. One is expand the gym a little bit further, another 10 feet or so that two teams can practice in it at the same time, or leave the existing new design, which is bigger, and add a full wrestling room to it. We submitted that in a drawing and also explained it. It's probably been going on 2 months now, I think, when we sent it. We've had a couple of brief emails back saying they got it and they're looking at it, but we haven't really heard anything definitive. And we're getting a little worried because, as you know, there's fairly strong time pressure to get the building completed, and we don't want the gym to go forward and not have it expanded the way it should be. So one of the things I thought we might do, and I've already signed up to do this, and I sent you guys a draft of it, is to use the upcoming Board of Education testimony, which is on Monday night, to make 2 points. One is to talk about the gym a little bit, and not obviously be negative about it, but just say, we just want you to know we're still not quite there yet. And we hope it'll actually, we'll get a proposal back, but so far we haven't. And just briefly outline what we proposed. And obviously, one of the reasons to do that is to make sure they know that if something is going forward that we weren't aware of, that they don't accept it. The other thing to do, the reason to do this is that Seth Adams, who's the planning department head for this facilities, work for the MCPS is at the meeting, almost always at BOE meetings. So part of my intent is to obviously put it on the table so that hopefully what they'll do is ask a question of Seth as, as to where this is and are you planning to make any changes, that kind of thing. Hopefully we'll get into a dialogue, or at least they'll ask questions, which hopefully will get it off dead center. The other thing I thought we'd include in the testimony is the Wellness Center. Hannah Donart, who's the cluster coordinator for the MCPA PTSAs, sent us a note, Jim and I, a note, and I looked in the budget, and she's absolutely right. There is no amendment yet for putting in the Wellness Center in the high school. So they haven't, even though, as you remember back at the groundbreaking, there was discussion about making sure that the new school has a new Wellness Center built into it. And from what you can tell right now, that's not happening. So I thought I'd hit on that issue as well. That'll only take about 2 minutes, but I think they're both worth doing. And so just wanted to put that on the table and make sure you guys are aware of it. It's the 14th. Testimony starts at 6. I won't know until that day when I'll testify, but I'll let you guys know that evening. It usually goes on for several hours, so it won't be at 6. That's almost certain.
Link, is it all Zoom?
No, it's live too. I'm going live. I'm not going to do it.
Okay, good. Yeah. Then I'll plan on me going down there with you. So sounds good.
Don't you have isn't there a town meeting?
Oh, it's the
that
14th.
night?
Yeah. Dang it.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah,
all right,
no problem.
Gotta skip my first new town meeting.
Yeah, I will be covering the town meeting, but hopefully I'll just look at the recording the next day. So I won't be there in person to do it. But.
Right. Feel free to text.
Yeah, I will. So that's that. That's the first issue. I don't know. Is there anything else, Jim, I missed in the update?
No, the only thing I was going to say is, Link, have we heard of, has there been an amendment proposed or suggested for any of the wellness centers, not just for us, but for any wellness centers?
No, and part of that's because a lot of them, a lot of the schools have room to put a wellness center in, and they're actually getting operating funds to start making them happen right now. So we don't have that yet, and so we both need the capital spending and we need the operating.
And the operating funds have already been obligated. They're out there already for those people that have the space.
Yeah, they're already starting to get them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we got our work cut out for us. So that needs to be included.
Yeah. Any questions on that further? Okay. A quick update on the community center. I got a note from Amy Donan, who's in Greg Assant's office and has been doing a lot of the outreach. I think some of you may have actually talked to her. She's been trying to get outreach from various community groups, and they met with a whole bunch of folks. I've been pretty impressed, I think, with what they've been doing. She has one more meeting, essentially, and that is to be with us, the Fair Access Committee, and the commissioners. And I don't know when she's planning to do it, but she wanted to do it as soon as possible because they want to try to get this POR done in December. So I guess, Jim, before Thanksgiving, I don't know if that's going to be possible or not. If we could find some time to meet with her, that would be good.
We've got to be able to do that, and the commissioners will have to be able to do it as well. And I know we can get a representative group of the commissioners at least to meet, off our usual meeting time. So yeah, we have to do it.
I suspect they can do some Zoom parts of it too. I think they don't all have to be live. So let me check with her and see what her time frame might be in terms of time she can do it, and I'll get back to you.
Because enough of us can get away during the day that we can meet with her, I'm sure.
Okay.
So from a commissioner standpoint, Fair Access, I know we can get a representative group together.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I think those are the last two groups for the most part, right?
Yeah, she had one other idea which I hadn't thought of, honestly. Somebody raised with her the idea of meeting with history groups in Poolesville. So HMD, Randy obviously be one, Kenny Scholes, Skip Etheridge, Jeff Sypek. They're all good history folks in our area. I think that's probably a good idea. So.
Why don't Link, when you suggest ask her if she wants to get together with that group, because I know we can get those guys. All those names you just mentioned are used to working together.
Right.
And, I know you didn't say Knight Kiplinger or Maureen.
No, Maureen, I forgot her. Yeah.
But I'm sure those guys would be fine with representatives to meet with them.
Right.
Because that's pretty critical. We're from a town perspective, we're going to be getting together all those players for, the historic West End conversations, and that's going to kind of tie into what those guys are doing. So
Yeah.
anyway, good.
But beyond that, she's pretty much talked to, I'm guessing, around 40 different groups. They've really done a lot of good outreach. And I've gotten feedback from several groups saying that they were impressed. And Jim and I saw the presentation the PASC made, and it was very thorough. So
It's great.
I think we've given her good input. I think it should be a really interesting report when it comes out. So,
and it was fairly well advanced without the feedback last time we actually saw it live.
right, it was.
Yeah, that's good. Hopefully, I like to, we always like to think that we do more than what other people do in order to prove our case. So hopefully this has been good for them.
Yep.
Remember, Link, they kind of implied that a lot of that they have to search out the user groups themselves, or the potential, these different factions that the county POR people have to like look for these people, and we gave it to them on a silver platter.
Yeah. I think it was really very helpful to them. They really got off on a fast start for that. So
yeah, and our people responded, so it was awesome.
So I think that's it for the community center. On the White's Ferry, just a quick update on that. Jim and I have had at least a couple of conference calls with there's a little group of folks, the District 15 representatives, Andrew Friedson, and Chris Conklin, who's the Department of Transportation head from MoCo. We've been pressing them, and I think we finally convinced them that the only real solution we see is for Montgomery County to reach out to the Virginia landowner, which is Libby Devlin, and try to work out a easement arrangement with her. She has been pretty specific about, there's really three things she wants: some kind of a longer term agreement, something that's not forever, but something that she can rely on, some kind of revenue stream from that. Obviously she's proposed 50 cents a car, but so she wants that. And then she also wants some kind of way to verify the traffic on the ferry, so she has some idea what the payment ought to be. I think on that latter point, we convinced her that actually trying to count the cars and have somebody take care of that kind of thing would really be time consuming and really not that helpful. And maybe some kind of a traffic survey, which is done all the time, might be a better approach. Maybe every 6 months do one, and then have that be used for whatever payment is made. So I think we've got the county there. They have had, to our knowledge, one meeting with her. I don't think a lot of details were discussed, but I think it was pretty positive. But beyond that, we haven't heard anything further. We've got another conference call scheduled on November 28th. We hopefully we'll hear more, and there hopefully will be some progress. If there isn't, by the time the 28th rolls around, that's almost a year or 2 years after the ferry closed. So I'm not sure what I would recommend at that point if we don't hear any real solid evidence that things are moving forward. But it would be concerning if we don't hear something on the 28th. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, we're likely going to have to take a much more in-your-face type approach if there's no 2 years is way enough. Plus, there's a new council now, and potentially the new council can put pressure on Elrich and the rest of the gang to take some big steps here.
Yeah.
So our first real dealings with this new council might be heavy duty approach on White's Ferry.
Right. So that's all we know on White's Ferry at this point. Just a quick update too on healthcare. I think all of you know that WUMCO has been really doing some phenomenal work under its HIF grant that it got, and Melissa Wiedendorf-Hofer is doing phenomenal work of trying to set up different kinds of approaches to reach populations that can't get medical access and dental services. One of the things that's really been big. And she is supposed to have a report. It's supposed to be finished in early next year, probably around July, I guess, June or July. So that could be really helpful, because that grant, that essentially is a report on what they found in the work they've done trying to reach out to these different constituencies. And also they've done some survey work. So they have a pretty good idea, a much better idea than we used to have about what kinds of healthcare needs we have. So that's really great. And in that regard, I also noticed, and I put together a testimony that I sent to all of you guys for look-see, but the Montgomery County Health Officer has been nominated by the county executive. Her name is Keisha Davis. She's got a really interesting background and includes a lot of focus on groups that are underserved. So I think she would really resonate to some of the things that are going on out here and could be really helpful. As you probably recall, the last health officer we had, Travis Gales, was pretty helpful. He was the guy who really helped spearhead the zip code study that helped us put on the map, I think, some of the issues we have in our area in terms of healthcare access. So I'm hoping we can open a relationship up with her, but at a minimum, what we did is submitted testimony just saying, you know, we're impressed with your background. We're looking forward to working with you. And here is some background on what kinds of health issues we have in the Western County. And we also coordinated this with WUMCO, so they jointly filed it with us. So that's really good too. So I think that added the credibility of the work. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that's been there, and I've gotten a couple of notes already from council members saying they appreciated the testimony. So that's good.
Great job. Great job.
Mm-hmm. One other thing I wanted to, in terms of politics, quickly, I wanted to mention, we all know the election has been concluded. There's still some seats or some races that are not decided yet, like the Board of Education. Brenda Wolf's seat is still not yet decided. It's close. I think she looks like she's going to win, but we don't know yet. Most of the other seats, though, have been decided. And I circulated before a draft letter to send out to both electeds and also those who ran and didn't win from Fair Access, just essentially saying, you know, we appreciated that they either ran and stood up and or that congratulations to winning your election. And then including with it the letter we sent, a copy of the letter we sent to the county executive, which, as you know, included our 4 priorities in terms of funding for the coming year. So wanted you to know that I haven't done anything with that yet because we still don't know about a couple of the seats, but we will be sending that out sometime early next week so we can get that out to all of these folks and, again, kind of cement that relationship we have. I don't know if you guys remembered it or not, but at the Pools a Day breakfast, one of the things that many from Ignite mentioned was that when she took over as superintendent, what she found on her desk was a letter from the Fair Access Committee. So we know these things matter, and emails are useful and helpful, but even today, letters still, I think, say something a little bit different. So I think they're worth sending out. So I don't think I need a lot of help with that. I mean, I've done this before, so, but I just wanted you to know it's, you know, you saw the draft and I plan to send it out next week. Quickly, I wanted to also mention that in the budget process, just so we all are on the same page, as you know, right now the Board of Education is considering the CIP, and that's why what I'm testifying on November 14th is part of the CIP review that the BOE is doing. But there's also a budget process, as you know, for the county at large, and so the county executive will be submitting his budget on January 15th, his capital budget. And that would include, hopefully, those 4 items that we sent him a letter about. So what I would propose we do is take a careful look at that when it comes out. And if it includes those items and we're happy with it, then we send them a thank you letter and copy all the council members. If we are not, then we need to make sure we let them know there's some things missing in the letter, or we're not satisfied with some of the things proposed in the budget. But that's coming up on the 15th, so keep your eyes out for that. I don't know if any of you guys have anything further, but I had one other idea I wanted to put on the table, and Jim and I briefly talked about it, but we had such a great success with the Pools a Day breakfast this year. I was thinking that it might be a neat idea to see if we couldn't use the list we had before, both the leaders that we invited and the local citizens we invited, to a holiday event, just kind of a fun holiday gathering at locals, probably sometime the second week of December, which is when our meeting normally would be, but we probably don't really need to have a meeting in December anyway, and maybe do it like the second Thursday in December. I'm sure we got the budget for it. It's not going to be that expensive. And I haven't talked to Sandy and David yet about doing it, but I suspect we can put together a nice event that would, again, help just raise our profile and cement our relationship with folks. I wanted to get your reactions to it before I went further with it.
This is Kevin. That's a great idea. Have it twice a year. Have our September event be the one where we hit them with our PowerPoint and our concerns and stuff, but have the December event be more like a celebration and just enjoy their company and host a nice event to remind them that we're their friends.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I like it. Any other reactions or, like I said, I haven't talked to Sandy and David. I'm sure they're going to be busy at the holiday season, but I'm hoping we can find some time to do it.
Likely for a Thursday night, they'll be able to do that. Plus, we just got to get on people's calendars. And if we do it like in a decent hour, a lot of people might be splitting events that day just because of the holidays. But all they need to do is show up for just a little bit, and almost like an open house. Come at a certain time because we're not going to have a big heavy message to lay on. It will just be more, meet us, meet the commissioners, and talk about the mission a little bit.
What about between lunch and dinner?
I mean, that could be a good idea too, because people definitely have more of an idea, or even something earlier. Like, what do you think? Like, are you thinking like 5 o'clock, something like that, in case they have a later night get together?
Well, before sunset, because if it gets dark, there's no street lamps out on the little parking lot for locals. So,
like 4
p.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they can arrive before it gets dark.
So, Laura, I think we need to update our
and then when
invite
they leave, the lights will be on in town, and they'll see all that.
Oh, the Christmas lights, Kevin. Now you're talking, buddy.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's some genius right there.
Yep. They'll be there for the lighting ceremony. Oh, it's too late for that. That's
Yeah,
good.
or maybe we can get Santa Claus to ride. Oh, that's right, Santa Claus. They don't want to bring Santa Claus this year. Yeah, don't forget that. Yeah. Anyway, but I love the idea of getting them there in daylight. That's a great idea. Link, what do you think about that?
I like it. I will. Let me see if I can get a time with Sandy and David. I'll let you guys know. And in the meantime, Laura, if you guys could update our invite list. I think all the folks we had from the community, I think we should invite them again too, frankly, if we're going to do it.
Absolutely. Especially the guys that were part of the POR.
Yeah.
They're already stakeholders. They know what we need out of them.
Yeah. And
so
the
that
PTSD
would be
leaders,
great.
Yeah. But on the leader side, though, Laura, I think a lot of the folks we had in the original list were candidates and not electeds. And there's, like I said, a few seats that are changing right now. We know, for example, that even though they're not necessarily our constituents per se, people like Kristen Mink, I don't know if I've met her several times. She's been out to Poolsville. I think she's District 5, but I think I would invite them all in council and just see who shows up. Wouldn't be surprised that you get some people.
Oh yeah, definitely all in the council.
So the council,
definitely every council member, not just that large.
The county executive, Dale, Greg Williams, obviously, and then the Board of Education members. I think that's pretty much it. And the District 15, obviously, too. Oh, what about the governor? Should we invite Aruna?
Yeah.
Well, the lieutenant governor only lives 12 minutes away, so we should invite her.
Let's try that. We don't know what's happening.
She's been great.
With David Trone's seat right now. I mean, it's really close. So it may not be David. It could be Neil Parrott. But I was telling Jim at the breakfast, both he and his wife were there, and his wife sat next to my wife for the whole breakfast. So she got to know her pretty well. So either way, I mean, we know both of them, or at least they know about us because of the free access breakfast. So,
yeah, no, they've been good. Yeah. That sounds great. So are we talking about 4 o'clock then?
Yeah.
On Thursday, the second week or?
Yeah, that would be
December.
Yeah, I'll look on here and see what it looks like it is in terms of dates. That would be December 8th, and that's probably good because the next week gets too close to Christmas week, I think. So probably the 8th would be bad. Laura, do you think that's enough time? I would, that's 4 weeks essentially from now. If we send it out, like say early next week.
Yeah. Do you want to send out send it out through Muster or just like the platform we use, the same platform for, you want to keep it smaller, right? So,
Yeah, I would use the Eventbrite.
okay.
Yeah, that looked nice, I think. Yeah, I'd use that.
Okay. Yeah, no, we can get that pulled together.
So maybe on Monday we can touch base, and if it looks good and I got a time set, we can go with that. So,
Okay.
all right. Those are all the items I had. I don't know if anybody else had anything. I think I've covered everything, but I think we're in pretty good shape. Looking forward to see the new council members. I got several emails and texts. Gabe sent me a text. Andrew sent me a text. I know Jim's got communications from people already who got elected. So, I think we're off to a good start.
Is there, real quick, if you don't mind me jumping in with the 2-year anniversary coming up of Whites Ferry, maybe based on your con the 28th of this month, maybe there's an event that could be potentially planned for at Whites Ferry on the 2-year anniversary, or some kind of communication or some kind of announcement, marking that if things are not moving in the right direction.
I mean, I think we have to seriously consider some sort of an event.
Yeah.
Period. And it's probably not going to be. We probably have to make a bit of a poke in the eye, too.
Yeah.
So
in that regard, Jim, the thing that, and Laura, you can chime in on this too, since you probably have some good thoughts on it. But the truth is, I don't know who we would get to, other than us, to speak at this event, because so far there really haven't been any solutions. And I'm not casting aspersions at all our District 15 folks, but honestly, I don't know what they would say other than they're outraged that nothing's happened. But the truth is, Montgomery County right now is kind of the linchpin of this. I don't think they want to criticize our county. So I'm not sure who you invite. That's one of the key things.
well, hey, yeah, it could be our own party.
Yeah.
As the most effective party and the people that have been driving the narrative the whole time.
Yeah.
And Lincoln, I've been told that several times now, that if we're not making noise, nothing's happening.
Maybe instead of an event, maybe a media blitz with stories coming up on the 2-year anniversary. Some of the same stuff we had, like direct quotes from people who've been affected.
Here we go.
What's life been like 2 years later?
Yeah.
Just to kind of put it back into the news cycle, because I don't think it's been in the news cycle for maybe a year.
Probably.
For an event, but to get it back into the news cycle, we should try to figure out how to do that.
Well, I think real quick, like you mentioned, those testimonials that you pulled together, all the business owners, maybe the Chamber of Commerce, maybe we could talk about resources lost, revenue lost, the additional mileage people are logging. Maybe we pulled together some figures. And then there was always that travel tourism angle too. Kelly Groff and Visit Montgomery County, maybe we revisit that. I know we had talked about this fall, maybe reconvening with her. I haven't heard anything out of Visit Montgomery County. They had talked about, right, including some tours in Western Montgomery County. And I don't know if that's all stalled or where that's at, but maybe there's a tourism angle there too. And that, can be touched on as well.
Yeah, it might be a little cannibalistic if Montgomery County Tourism comments on Montgomery County's lack of effort, but they are going to be. Link put it on to Keith Miller the other night, and I could tell Keith was a little not taken back, but he was like, "Well, yeah, we could certainly use. I mean, the ferry is going to need to be running when Crossvines is up and running." And I think that's an angle we haven't really talked about, but we haven't had the reason to. But now that Crossvines is, risen out of the ground in such ways that it's going to be unbelievable that they've got to have that. You'd think the county has to have the ferry fully functioning if our goal is to try and basically steal business from Northern Virginia. And the study was a bit of a joke when it talked about how that it didn't take much, that it wasn't a big time gainer having the ferry operation, when we all know that's a joke, especially with the condition of 15 and Luckett's and all that. So you would think this would really have some resonance with the county, with Crossvines, April opening supposedly. So,
Right.
and Laura, you got to come out and go out there and see that place.
I know.
And anybody else that's on the Zoom that hasn't been out there, Link, you have to admit, like, we were kind of taken back by how great it was.
Oh yeah, I think people down county would be shocked. It really is.
Shocked,
neat.
shocked and upset.
Yeah, probably so.
So
Let me try to
Jealous.
to frame this. I mean, I think on one level it could just be, frankly, as Kevin was pointing to, is just like indignation. This has been 2 years. We've tried everything we can. We've tried to work with the system, and all of us are just at the point of, utter frustration. We've got to see this open again. Why can't something do? Maybe that's all we do. Just talk about it like that, because honestly, we tried everything else, and so far it's not worked. If we can show 150 people there, for example, which I think we probably could.
oh, I think we could get that easy. I think
that
we
would
get
be
that.
good for you, I would think.
We put out an APB and set a time for it, and request as many people to get out there as possible. The parking is already there.
Yeah.
I think that could be a huge showing. And we know that the numbers speak, right?
Yeah.
That's something only the county responds to. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
got to think hard about that. We can't let any anniversary go unused.
Yeah, those are
So
Hey, guys, if I could just add something, I think that the White's Ferry angle is very interesting in terms of what you were saying about making noise and putting the economic loss in, in kind of some like really detailed, tangible way. And just in terms of, I remember White's Ferry as something that was going back and forth, when I was a reporter in Montgomery County. That's how long ago, that's how long this thing has been fermenting. So I think if you were able to put out an APB and get the foot traffic, I think that's something, dare I say, get it back in the news bloodstream. I think that could be, if I'm a reporter looking for something local, really hyper local and moving, that's a lot of red meat.
Yeah.
good
Hey,
call.
we could put a bunch of people there. Also stage a fake traffic thing, people lining up in traffic waiting to cross the ferry, and have a nice aerial view of the people waiting to cross the Potomac.
I knew there was going to be like a George Washington angle coming up here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You standing on the bow of a canoe. being
Yeah.
pushed across.
There you go.
That's a little much, but okay.
No, I think I love the idea of having it be from a historical, commercial, and people angle. And the people angle could be getting, like, if we were to put an APB out and make sure we had good drone work, but have a call out for as many people to show up at White's Ferry on 9 o'clock on Saturday, whatever day it is. I make you bet we could have, whatever the anniversary is, we could have that. That could be huge.
I think it was December 20th, if I remember right. So I'll have to look the data, but I think that's when it actually was announced they were going to close it. So,
Well,
Yeah.
I think there was a flood that weekend,
it was, yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and then they just decided to not reopen
Not reopen. Yeah.
Yeah.
going forward.
I think that might have been the 20th though. We'll take a look though.
Yeah. It's in the monocle.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a little work to do too, but no
Well,
no holiday this year.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But no, I don't think, I think between, like, Link, you and I could get the testimonials, I'm sure, lined up. I'm happy to talk to more businesses, and, we just touched the surface on that last time anyway. That was just enough to make the white paper, round it out.
Yeah.
But we could get the business commentary. I mean, detailed business commentary, especially like from locals and all these cooperative businesses. I'm sure I could line up a dozen 1-paragraph interviews with local business owners telling how the lack of ferry has just made it so that their arms cut off.
Yeah. Did it affect Alex anyway, Markov?
Well, it depends on when you talk to him, because like from when I had to spend the weekend with him on Tucker's wedding weekend, and he was like, I'm so over this that I'm actually happy when people don't show up. I said, that's not a good quote, dude. Not good. But and that was October 15th. He still had 2 weeks left. So but anyway, no, I'm sure that he can be quoted as that it definitely has affected their business. And they expect X amount of growth based on their year by year growth. And that this year, that obviously there's been a drop off, a lack of return even. I'm sure he would quote that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's real too. It's not just him quoting. I think he'd be the first one to tell you that, you guys, if you've gone every year, or if you've gone most years, they never make it smaller. That thing's bigger and badder every time. So, and their game is, up to par.
Yep.
So-
they expect growth.
Let's say we get 150 people or 200 people there. There's got to be some kind of it doesn't have to be a program, but something to make them, this is a photo event. That's what you want. So you want people cheering about something, yelling about something. So we need somebody, at least one or two speakers that try to get the crowd riled up. That's for sure. So we have to think about, what we say, but I think, the truth is we've been more than patient, honestly. The truth is we've done everything we can to try to work with the system. And I've said this before, it's a political failure all around, no matter how you look at it, it's a political failure.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have happened, but it did. And I don't know what'll happen either with folks like Chuck Kuhn, if he might want to, because he hears what's happening, whether he'll want to come or not. But, I don't think we ought to, I think we ought to just it ought to be about us, because frankly, nobody else has helped us yet. And
Right.
We're just saying, look, we're tired of this. And something has to give. That's basically it, I think.
Let's figure out that date that it was stopped, so that we can start getting a date on the calendar for when we would do it. And I would think a Saturday morning is the best possible time to do it, and probably relatively early, because people have tons of stuff. It's the holiday season. I'm not really sure that I want to hear non-Poolsville. I mean, I don't have to be the speaker. I mean, Lincoln, you could do it. Other people could do it, but I'm not sure that, tell us the other political people that could make speeches. They're all part of the fail.
Yeah.
Anyway, even though they've tried, it's part of the fail.
That's
So-
exactly correct. This needs to be us talking.
Yeah.
Poking a few eyes gently.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think we need to, and we could also invite the council too, and let them hear us, let them see it. And Michael, good media on this thing would be great. And I think as you said, it's nice meat, because they're going to be that's a crappy news cycle, and that'll be an interesting take on that thing. So
I believe the date was December 28, 2020 was the exact day.
Yeah.
And I think so. I think that the December 28th is your anniversary. And I just thought that, because I wasn't even in the market, but I remember hearing that story and thinking it was a mistake, even back then.
Yeah.
And so I would tell you that actually makes it better, because the news cycle by Christmas time is so dry that that would be like manna from heaven. We'd move that. I think it's great. I think that one thing we would want is to have like a tangible, loss sheet where you take all of the data points of the economic growth that's been lost in the tourism and in the, the mileage lost, and put it on a 5 to 10 point fact sheet, a handout.
We've got that already.
Those all real.
We've got that pretty much already, Michael. We haven't got a short version of it, but we did do a pretty extensive survey based on Facebook posts we made, asking people to give us their specific personal experiences. So it was both commuters and how they experienced it, and businesses. And we even did some extrapolations based on the amount of money people said they were no longer spending in Virginia, about how much it was costing Virginia businesses. So I don't know if you've seen that white paper, but I'll send it to you. And I think you can just take that and make a pretty good one pager out of it.
I still
So-
like, and I like my Link. I like Michael's angle about the that we never. I don't know if we really quantified work loss hours and productivity loss hours by what's the ferry being shut down. I don't even know if that can be quantified, but I'm sure it's a measurable number that's very disappointing. So something like that. That's like one more reach.
This smacks to me. I'm having visions of my head of every news director all at once realizing that this is an actionable, visually moving story about something that they themselves will realize. Oh, White's Ferry. Yeah, whatever happened? We haven't put out anything on that in 6-9 months, and they'll realize how long it's been. And they'll. I think it'll shake a couple trees.
Think about this. Go ahead.
If you take the White's Ferry study, there's actually a segment in there about economic impact, and there is a part of it that talks about how many hours it takes to go either around Point of Rocks or across the ferry. I think you could take that and then just use 800 cars per day for the last 2 years and multiply it and probably come up with how many miles or how many hours that is of lost time right there.
Yeah. It's math.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And it is December 20th. I'm looking at it right here. It's it was December 28th.
28th. Yeah, there you go. You guys think about how much mileage or negative mileage it would be that they got the sinkhole that closed the road, Monocacy Road in Frederick. That got 2 days a week coverage for a long time from various places. And that's a stupid road that closed by a sinkhole, not by two private parties, not by a river, none of the interests that we have.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. I kept watching, like, oh God, here's another damn story about that stupid sinkhole. Who cares?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And they had a way around it too, which we don't. So
that's right. Yeah, not really.
Okay.
I know Hogan didn't do anything about it, but should we get the new governor and try and get him out there too for it? Blast him with it?
Yeah.
Well,
Aruna,
Jim and I have talked about this. She actually has a transportation background. So she's really has already expressed interest in White's Ferry. But the issue is, if we invite them, and she may still want to come, that would be fine. As long as she says, we're going to put a renewed focus on this. And, I think she can't promise a solution overnight, but if she was willing to say something like that, that could be huge. But otherwise, right. I think inviting her might be self-defeating for her, because what's she going to do? Just stand there and not really have anything to say?
Yeah, I think we need to keep this a local poke in the eye, help rejuvenate the folks, rather than folks coming out to say the same political speak. Oh, we're working on it. We're trying. No. That hasn't been working. We need to have a story, like Michael said, keep it a refreshed news cycle for this story.
Poolsville centric.
Exactly.
Not political doublespeak centric.
Exactly.
Although, again, if they were willing to say up front ahead of time that they've got they're actively involved in a solution, then I wouldn't mind if they had something to say then. But I'd almost want proof.
Yeah.
And as Link said too, Aruna's entire background is transportation, and so she has to know how bad this is.
Yeah.
Beyond it. So that's the one that probably out of all the different politicians we've talked about, because, as you guys know, as much as we love David Frasier-Dago, as much as we love Andrew, for those guys to keep talking about how well they collaborated on something that hasn't happened. That, I told David privately over a beer, I was like, dude, just stop talking about it until we have something going on. It's not a plus to talk about a collaboration. So.
I mean, if you did invite her, it would be fair to do so, because they are new kids on the block. They haven't had the chance yet to go engage. If they're willing to come and say, look, we don't have the solution to world hunger here, but we are looking at this. We do think it's important, and we want to put a renewed focus on it. I think that's actually positive, even though it doesn't give you a solution.
You know what we should do? We should incorporate Westmore's slogan, leave no one behind.
Yeah, there you go.
Woo, yeah, baby.
Just somehow slide it in somewhere.
Yeah, that's how they bring it to their attention, because nobody else is talking about it. And you
that
throw it
is
right in their
too
lap
damn
and say,
funny.
"Hey, here."
Yeah, I can't open up I'm not technically proficient enough to open up my calendar. What day is close to the 28th? What Saturday is close to the 28th?
So the 28th is a Wednesday. Then the next Saturday, unfortunately, would be New Year's Eve. So that's no good. So it either has to be and the 24th is a Christmas Eve. So that's not a good Saturday. So it's
Yeah,
probably
that's
got to be
tough.
it's probably got to be the 17th, which is a Saturday, and it's 2 weeks out. But even so, it's in the neighborhood because I mean, after all, so we're not quite 2 years. So what? It's been almost 2 years.
You
The
know what,
17th
though?
is probably
I think
Yeah.
the 17th is too early before
me too.
Christmas. I think
Yeah.
you want to do it. How about the 29th or the 29th, Thursday or Friday the 30th? So Christmas is on the weekend, the 25th Sunday,
yeah.
and then New Year's Eve is Saturday the 31st. There's no news during the week, December, Monday 26th, Friday the 30th. I think, and a lot of us are home, at least not everyone's working. I think we could still get a good showing on a morning of Thursday, the 29th or Friday, the 30th.
And
Michael, what do
conversely,
you think?
yeah.
So
Well,
you're saying that, Kevin, people will be on vacation, like mostly, or a lot of them will be.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are home, at least
Yeah.
All
during
events
that time.
CPS. Yeah.
But the 17th is too early. You don't want to do it pre-Christmas, and you don't want to do it post New
No.
Year's.
Well,
Well, and
I'd
if-
either say we either do it New Year's Eve day, which I don't know if that's a real holiday or not in terms of like, are we worried about getting people out at 9 o'clock in the morning because they know they're going to stay up past midnight that night? I mean, that old people like me think about that shit, but I don't know about other people.
Yeah, but there might be other news that night, like, oh, it's New Year's Eve, all that, those crappy stories. But
Yeah.
the couple days leading up to New Year's,
Oh, Kevin, you're right. And Michael, sorry, I don't want to step on your toes, but that makes a case for Thursday morning to do this, to get the Thursday, Friday, what's left of that news cycle in place.
yeah,
Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah. And that's just one day after the 28th. So
Once you get to that point, I mean, newsrooms are filled with, it's all skeleton crews looking for, anything. I mean, at that point, you're looking for any breaking news or going to visit the local firehouse to see who brought over cookies or something like that. So,
yeah.
at that point, they'd be pretty happy with this White's Ferry thing.
You think we'd have a decent showing if we did it like that Thursday morning, and then we'd be able to capture the Thursday news cycle and into Friday, whatever that, how I know the end of the week kind of sucks, but that's probably the best we could do. Does that make sense?
That's how I'd see it going. Yeah.
And then gives us enough time to rally the troops between now and then to get people down there. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys give us your best press idea on what we had to do in terms of timing, and then we'll go from there. I think we also ought to have the Grinch there too, but that's.
You could.
I love it.
It's a good visual.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the visual. Right. What about where we can get a Grinch costume from? That's a pretty good idea.
I'm the Grinch who stole Christmas, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
That's good because it'll be one day after the anniversary. That's good.
yeah, we should definitely have a Grinch costume.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. The media could interview him. What
Yeah.
do you think? Well, they stole my Christmas. They stole my whole year, frankly.
Right. God, who can do was it Lon Chaney Jr.? Was he the original one? Yeah, somebody's got to have a good accent. That's a great idea. Yeah, we'll have to work on that one. Grinch costume. Good idea.
All right. Well, we got a lot of work ahead of us here, it looks like.
And it sounds like some fun work too.
Yeah, I think hopefully productive too. I think.
Yeah, it sucks that we have to deal with it, but again, it's been made very clear to us that if we don't push it, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Uh-oh, no one's driving your car, Jim.
I know. I don't know where she went to, but she's gone. So she was right there, but she's not there anymore.
Yeah.
self-driving car.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it. Those are some good things, I think. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So Link, you and I get together tomorrow morning
Yeah.
and then we'll go from there. We got some other stuff happening too. So
Yeah.
good.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All
You
right.
guys. Yeah.
Congrats, Jim.
And
Thanks.
you guys and to everybody, thanks for your support on the election. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yes,
congratulations.
thank you. And thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
to-
Thanks, Adam, for running.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
bet.
Adam, you had to get that first one under your belt, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Takes a while.
I'll be back. I'll be back in 2 years. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll be back on it.
Good
Proud of you.
man.
Good
I'm
job.
gonna
Adam.
leave that sign in your yard for 2 years, Jim.
I got news for you. You already got to come grab it out of my sign storage area.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was gonna text you here a little bit today. I forgot yours. Can you grab it for me? So we're all
That's
set.
okay. I already got it, man. I grabbed a couple for you today. No problem.